Suppose Jake is 28 years old. He works 50 hours a week at a real job, not some minimum wage gig. He earns $65,000 a year. That's $5,400 landing in his bank account every single month. And yet, right now, Jake has $214 in savings. Not $2,140, not $21,400. $214. He's not lazy. He's not stupid. He doesn't gamble. He doesn't have a drug problem. He just works, pays his bills, tries to get by. And somehow, every single month, the money just disappears. If you've ever looked at your bank account and thought, wait, where did it all go? This video is going to explain exactly what's happening to you. And I promise you, it's not your fault in the way you think it is. Today, we're going to follow Jake through one full month. We're going to track every dollar he earns and reveal the 4 invisible forces that are quietly eating his paycheck before he even gets a chance to save it. And then, we're going to show you the exact 3 moves he used to break out of it. These 4 forces are not taught in school. Your employer doesn't warn you about them, and most budgeting advice online completely ignores them. But once you see them, you can't unsee them. Let's start with force number 1. Force number 1, the invisible tax machine. Jake earns $65,000 a year. Sounds decent, right? But here's what most people never actually sit down and calculate. Before Jake sees a single dollar, the government takes its share. Federal income tax, $7,800. State income tax, average, $2,600. Social Security, $4,030. Medicare, $942. $15,372. Gone, before he spends a single dollar. That means Jake's real take-home pay, not $65,000, $49,628 a year, or about $4,135 a month. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Did Jake agree to this? Did anyone sit him down at age 22 and say, hey, for every dollar you earn, only 76 cents is actually yours? No, it just happens automatically, every 2 weeks, silently, before he even logs in to check. Now, I'm not saying taxes are evil. Roads need to be built, schools need funding. But here's the brutal truth most financial advice skips. You cannot budget your way to wealth if you don't first understand your real income. Most people budget based on their salary. Jake thought he was working with $5,400 a month. He's actually working with $4,135. That's a $1,265 gap every single month that people just don't account for. And that's before we get to force number 2. Force number 2, the rent trap. Jake pays $1,600 a month in rent. He found the place 2 years ago. Seemed totally reasonable. His landlord told him the rule: never spend more than 30% of your income on rent. $1,600 on a $65K salary? That's only 29.5%. He was being responsible. Except that rule was invented in 1969, back when housing costs were a fraction of what they are today. Back when a single income could actually buy a house. Back when $65,000, adjusted for inflation, would make you wealthy. Here's what's actually happened since then. Between 2020 and 2024, rent across America jumped more than 20% in most cities. Wages? Up about 4%. So the 30% rule? Broken, outdated, doesn't account for the reality Jake is living in. After rent, Jake has $2,535 left for the entire month. That needs to cover food, car, insurance, utilities, phone, internet, clothes, everything. And here's the sneaky part nobody talks about. Every year, his rent goes up by 5, 6, sometimes 8%. But his salary? His boss gave him a 2.5% raise last year, called it above average performance. Jake is running a race where the finish line moves faster than he can run. That's not a Jake problem. That's a system problem. Okay, now we get to the sneaky one. The one that nobody warns you about, because it doesn't feel like a problem. It actually feels like a reward. Jake got a raise 2 years ago. Not a huge one, an extra $3,000 a year. He deserved it. He worked hard. And so he treated himself. Nothing crazy, just small upgrades. Better coffee, faster Wi-Fi, one extra subscription, a gym membership he uses sometimes, the car lease that was only $40 more a month than his old payment. Let's add those up. Spotify Premium plus Netflix plus Hulu plus Disney Plus, $58 per month. DoorDash twice per week, $120 per month. Upgraded car lease plus $40 per month. Gym membership, $45 per month. Nicer groceries or meal upgrades, $80 per month. One extra dinner out per week, $90 per month. $433 a month. That's $5,196 a year, almost exactly the raise he got. And this is what economists call lifestyle creep, the silent wealth killer that disguises itself as you finally living your life. Every raise Jake gets, the monster eats it. Every bonus, every side income, the monster grows to match whatever Jake earns. And here's the darkest part. The people selling Jake all these upgrades, they know exactly how this works. Subscription services are designed to be small enough to never feel painful. Car leases are designed to frame the cost as only X dollars more per month. Jake isn't weak. Jake is being outplayed by people whose entire job is to be smarter than him about this. Force number 4, the emergency fund trap. Jake's transmission dies in October. Repair bill, $1,400. He doesn't have $1,400. He puts it on his credit card. His credit card charges 24% interest, which is now the national average for credit cards in America. He tells himself he'll pay it off by December. He doesn't. By the following March, that $1,400 has cost him $1,820 in total, and he's still making minimum payments. Here's the number that should shake you. The Federal Reserve found that 37% of Americans cannot cover a $400 emergency without borrowing money or selling something. Text on screen. $400. That's all it takes to send 1 in 3 Americans into debt. Not $4,000, not $40,000, $400. And this is how the trap works. You don't have savings because you can't afford to save. You can't afford to save because emergencies keep draining you. Emergencies keep draining you because you're paying high-interest debt. You're paying high-interest debt because you don't have savings. This isn't a character flaw. This is a financial trap. And once you're in it, every month resets the clock. Now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, I get it. Everything is broken. So what do I actually do? That's exactly where we're going next. Jake didn't find a secret investment. He didn't get a second job. Not yet. He didn't win the lottery. He made 3 simple moves that cost him nothing to start and changed everything within 12 months. Move 1. See your real number. Jake stopped thinking in salary and started thinking in take-home dollars per month. This sounds simple, but it changes everything. Because when you budget based on $65,000, you feel richer than you are. When you budget based on $4,135, you make real decisions. He wrote it on a sticky note on his laptop. $4,135 every month. That's the game. Move 2. kill one monster a month. Jake didn't try to fix everything at once. He canceled 3 subscriptions he forgot he had, $41 a month saved. He set a rule, 1 DoorDash per week, not 2, $60 a month saved. He negotiated his internet bill with 1 15-minute phone call, $22 a month saved. Total, $123 a month freed up, automatically transferred to a high-yield savings account the same day his paycheck hits, before he can spend it. The key? He didn't tell himself to try to save. He automated it. He made saving happen before spending could. In 3 months, $369 saved. Not enough to retire on, but enough to cover that $400 emergency without a credit card. The hamster wheel, for the first time, slowed down. Move 3. Attack the interest, not the principal. Jake had $1,820 in credit card debt at 24% interest. Most people look at that and think, I need to pay off $1,820. Jake started thinking differently. 24% interest means this debt costs me $437 a year just to exist. Every month he didn't pay it off, he was handing the bank $36 for free. So Jake made his credit card payment his second priority, right after his automated savings. Not the minimum, double the minimum. By month 8, the card was gone. That $36 a month he was losing to interest, now it was going into savings too. The 12-month result? Jake made the same $65,000, lived in the same apartment, kept most of his lifestyle. But 12 months after making these 3 moves, $4,800 saved. Not because he found extra money, because he stopped losing money he already had. He stopped paying a bank $36 a month in interest. He stopped paying $41 a month for subscriptions he never used. He stopped treating $65,000 like it was real money and started working with $4,135. The system is still the same. Taxes still take their cut, rent is still too high. But Jake finally knows what game he's actually playing, and that changes everything. Here's the thing I want you to take away from this. You're not broke because you're bad with money. You're broke because nobody gave you a map for a financial system that was designed by people who benefit from you staying confused. Taxes are automatic. Rent inflation is relentless. Lifestyle creep is invisible. And the emergency trap is designed to keep you cycling. But now you see it, and seeing it is the first move. If this video hit different, share it with someone who needs to see it. Not to embarrass them, because you care. And if you want to see what Jake does with his $4,800, how he turns that into his first investment, that video is right here.